is something that I'm hoping happened during those 4 days, and that's gather information.
You were drilling, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna spend a couple of days in the cargo bay just working on my cardio and training to keep myself in shape. Feel free to join me if you want.
Okay, yeah. Thiveron joins Aiden for some physical conditioning. He's not very good at it, but he does look like he's trying to copy a routine a bit.
I mean, we can kind of say that this is our coordination, basically. I mean, we're not gonna roll for it, but yeah, this is how the team actually got to know each other better. If you want to join us as well, Prava, for some physical activity.
Prava comes in, and he's also very, very bad at it. But
I'll take Ataika to the private chambers to catch him up if you guys want while you're RP.
He's been turned off this whole time. This is just when he turns on and activates.
Yeah.
Or do you want to catch him up
Say
by
you're
opening it
currently
up?
in a
Or...
box.
Yeah, I can just catch him up on what's going on.
Yeah, it's up to Sam. Like, what would you like? Would you like to come in as if you didn't know what was going on, or would you like to catch up?
Nobody hit my power button yet, so I don't know what's going on.
Okay, this is gonna be hilarious.
We just find him sitting in a corner.
Yeah, let's say in day 3 of the trip we finally turn him on, so we're halfway through the.
That's the thing. As on day 3, as everybody like Thiveron and Aiden are like training and doing drills in the cargo hold, your automatic startup sequence just kicks in after you've been refurbished and nicely polished by the nice people on Absalom Station. You find your systems finally kick back in, and you just see yourself in a black space, like a box.
Oh my god, a box.
Yes. You're still standing though.
Of course. I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way. Primary boot sequence finished. And then with eyes kind of flicker open, look around, see only box. And immediately...
Yeah, the ship of night vision, all you see is this box and a little sticker on the like dead in front of you that basically lists like your name, what was done to you, like refurbishments and stuff like that.
No. What the sticker says is caution, fragile, and he immediately gets offended.
Yes, it also says caution, fragile on it.
Ataika would immediately just punch through the box in front of him.
Would you like to make me a, let's see,
which is
athletics check?
not aggressive or like trying to freak anybody out. It's just like, I don't need to be in this box anymore.
No, it is openable, but would you like to make an athletics check to see how hard you open it? Okay, so essentially, as Aiden and Thiveron are jumping about, doing drills together, all you hear is thump, thump.
The fuck?
And the front of the crate just
eyes kind of, not eyes, his ears perk up. He literally can't perk up his eyes. And he, I assume like he sees the box, and he suddenly remembers that he never asked anybody what was inside the box. And so
Aiden
he
just
goes over.
Instinctively reaches for his gun and draws it and just waits to see what comes out of the box.
So the way the ship is laid out, because there's I imagine it's pretty loud, so you could hear it, but it's like you guys are kind of like at the north part of the ship, and then a bit south. Now he basically, I dragged the box into his like room and left it there. So he just like starts pounding, and I'm imagining like Kuzon just like is sitting in his like his tech station, like his workstation, like doing something with his crossbow, and then is like he just perks up, and he goes, I thought he'd be asleep for at least another day. And I'll just get up and start moving over to the box.
I'm gonna. I didn't realize he's in his room, so I don't actually see the box. Aiden is immediately gonna go for the ship's intercom and be like, Kuzon, is everything alright? We heard some noises. Is the ship suffering, or do we have visitors?
Our passenger's booting up.
Passenger?
Well, as I said, you're in the same cargo hold as them. So I assume that...
No, Kuzon said that he actually dragged the box to his room.
Ah, okay. So in other words, I guess it would have come out of the box and into a strange room.
So, wait a second. So I'm basically like Buzz Lightyearing over in another room, like popping out of my fucking container.
Yes, probably very loudly still though.
Motherfucker, are
Buzz
you
Lightyear
playing
to start
Terminator
coming
music?
Maybe. Seemed fitting.
As soon as I pop out, do I see Kuzon? Am I that close to Kuzon? Like I'm in the same room, I think. So
I imagine I'd catch up as soon as I start hearing the thumping, so I'd immediately know what it was.
okay. Non-aggressively, but bluntly and stiffly, Ataika reaches out to grab Kuzon and bring him up to his head to talk to him, because that's what his immediate instinct was.
Yeah, and Kuzon's like, well, you like lift him up, and he's like not alert at all. He just kind of like hangs limply. And it's like, "Good morning, big guy."
Where am I, meatling?
We'll have to work on your wording, but we're in the middle of space. We're heading towards the Diaspora asteroid belt to meet with the Benefactor. You've been deactivated for about 4 days. Densely populated.
I guess he wants more information, and all he would do is just, I require access to the nearest data jack.
And what I'll do is I'll just like pull out, he has a data jack as his race, right? Like I can literally plug my data jack as part of my tool into him and just like feed him the information.
Yeah,
I mean,
mission.
I mean, you could, but that would be very loot.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I'll just like plug him in and details. Very intimate.
Plug
Interface
me.
strange robot man.
Oh, dude, you're plugging your tail into me like fucking Avatar.
That's when Prava comes and walks into the room just as they're plugging into each other, and he immediately just turns around and walks out.
Blushes and
Well,
It's like, I'm glad I can't see that.
too late.
But,
Too late, Prava. Sees your bulgy while you bounce.
No, stop. Stop or remove
I'll,
all your credits.
I'll just feed you the where we are currently, our chords, and I'll feed you the flight path.
Don't
that
say
I
feed
set.
me. We've already
You
gone too
boys
far.
need to learn to behave, otherwise I swear to God I'm turning this ship around and I'm flying right
No,
into the
but-
fucking sun.
As I was saying, I was
Dude,
just
there's some
giving you
good
the
casinos in the sun.
coordinates. I was giving you the coordinates and our destination and everything like that. And I'll also, I assume I have like a receipt for when I paid for the work to be done. So I'll also give him that information on like
Yeah,
what's
it's
been
on.
refurbished and what equipment's been touched and everything like that.
Okay, so Sam, you're an android, right?
I'm a SRO.
Oh, okay. They are technically living creatures, though, right?
For the purposes of some things, like
For,
you
like,
can heal me.
right.
stuff like
You can
that.
heal me, but it's for
Yeah.
half, I think.
So Ash, would my I think it's called telepathic message. Not telepathic message. My mind link. Would I be able to mind link with an SRO? Because I know they technically have souls.
An SRO is a heightened intelligence. Some do have souls. Like, normally you cannot connect with an SRO. However, you can connect, which
Okay,
is Sam's
so-
character, so you can connect with him.
So as he's feeding you these coordinates and all the technical information, Thiveron's gonna walk over and place a hand on your shoulder, and you're gonna get images, but it's a blind man's images, so it's just the outlines from the sounds and the smells of all the interactions that we've had up until now.
So the smells will be completely lost on
Yeah.
Ataika.
Well, you get. Well, I mean, like it's
Sensation.
outlines. I use my smell as like a source of sight.
Ataika just see him kind of like look down for a second as he processes it, and then puts down. He goes to set down Kuzon. Says, A moment, Meatling. My memory banks have been disturbed.
Meatling, that's a new one. I like it.
So Prava watched Thiveron go into the room after he like cowered out, and now he's just staring at the door, blushing.
At that point, I'm assuming that
Oh my
Aiden has also popped up, but he's put his gun away and looks at shit. Sorry, not used to the names yet. Prava, yeah. He looks towards Prava and says, "So, what the hell's going on?"
They're interfacing in there.
Fuck's that supposed to mean? I poke my head in there.
The funny thing is, I don't think Kuzon or Ataika are like two individuals who don't really have much of a concept of what like social norms are. So to our characters is just like, I mean, I just, information, data jack, like what? With everybody else, it's like seems super intimate.
No, yeah, Ataika doesn't understand either. It's just like, just plug me in, coach.
Like Thiveron's aware of the social norms. He actually grew up most of his life on Absalom Station, but he doesn't think this is like an intimate thing because an SRO is, in its essence, a robot. So he just knows that some of them he can interact mystically with. So that's what he tries.
Yeah, like an SRO that you wouldn't be able to interact with would be one that's like, a faucet or something.
Yeah. What is my purpose? Spread the butter.
Spread the
Spread the butter. Oh. Nice
What is
memes.
my purpose? Fill people up with bullets.
Only people with 200
Awesome.
IQ
Oh.
get that meme.
That's something I realized. I forgot. I'm dumb. So I didn't fill in deity, and I forgot to fill in my languages. I put my deity as guns and my languages as bullets.
Nice. So are you just shooting us rapid fire this whole?
Oh yeah, I've been shooting you guys in the head. No, no. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Ataika kind of his head jolts up, and he like scans the room around him and says, "Where are my armaments?"
I imagine I'd put it in like a box in the corner of the room, and I'll just point. It goes, your stuff's in there. I know you can't be too far away from your stuff.
Well, I imagine with the loss of most of what was in this ship, other than the hull itself, some writings and stuff, and some quarters, there was like a whole. There's like a trove of guns and weapons and ammunition that are all gone. So like he would have had like big ass rifles and pistols and guns and stuff, but all of them are gone. So
It'd be like, well, I imagine like, because considering the conditions they were in, it's like most of them were inoperable, and we had to like have a long, involved conversation where Kuzon's like, "Sorry, buddy, but like it would cost way more money to repair this stuff than it would to replace it." It's like
My gun collection. God.
As Aiden is poking his head out, he just goes, "Damn, that's a big machine."
yeah, well, yeah. So for scale, he is 7.5 feet tall. So
Hey, Kuzon, does that thing come with a flamethrower or a minigun?
not yet.
Ooh, it speaks. I like that.
I also. You hear from the intercom.
Shut up.
He'll
Nobody
just be
cares
like,
about you.
Meet Ataika,
Yeah.
and I'll just give him like the I'm watching missions. Like on this ship, he's your equal. You're of equal rank. So, just keep that in mind.
Technically speaking, no. Ataika asks, where is your gun bay? Like, asking like where your any turret emplacements or any like outside gun bays are.
You have in the bridge, which is a level above us. Like I'll send you like the blueprints, quote unquote, basically. But you have a gunnery station that's up and accessible in the bridge. Like you have your own part that's focused on the weapons and stuff like that. I'll feed you information for like the access of those turrets that are up top, like how to access them. 'Cause I think that it would be off the bridge. The turrets are all on the top, if I'm not mistaken. And then I'll just like give you. I'll just basically, at this point, like whenever we just do a lot of like direct uploading. Like I have an AI in my head, you're an AI, so we just do a lot of like direct exchange of information. I imagine.
Back and forth. It's so romantic.
It's so romantic.
Yeah, so as I walk out of the room, I say, thanks, sweetie, and then... Ataika just walks out and goes straight to wherever you guys keep all the weapons and stuff. You know, gets his gear and then leaves. And starts researching everybody's weapons against their, if they didn't want him to. He wasn't told, so he starts just researching all their weapons.
Not only does Prava not have any weapons, he has literally no luggage. He just has the clothes he's wearing, and that's it.
Oh, fair enough. I think he honestly, full racism, because Ataika is like a very binary, no pun intended because he's a robot, but he's a very binary person. He looked at you and probably thought he probably lives in like, I don't know, like some kind of rusted crack in the hull.
Hey Ma, give me the raid cam, Ma!
As you guys are interacting and talking, you hear like an extremely loud like screeching of metal grinding against metal.
What's happened?
I got my shield.
Oh.
Did you just rip something out of the floor?
Not the floor. So that small hold that I was decommissioned in, I walked into it and, you know, lit one of the incense that was still left and put my hand against the wall and did my machine prayers, and then tore a large section of the hull wall off on the inside and kind of like banged it into shape to make it shield sized and shield shaped.
You may have to replace that once we dock.
When Thiveron sees you walking around with that, he looks, well, once he like realizes what it is that you just did, he runs up to you and says, wait. You see those markings there?
Yes.
I don't speak it, but I would like a record of it. Would you allow me to do a pressing of it?
Seeing as we're not currently on a mission, now would be a perfect time. And he like goes to hand it to you. Mind you, it's like fucking.
He's like
a heavy
starship.
hull. It's a starship up as heavy as shit.
I'm
Yeah,
assuming me and Kuzon are watching this on the cameras. Aiden just has a poker face and then finally pipes up. So you can control that thing, right?
Kuzon just like is looking. It's like, he does his own thing. He's an autonomous being.
He's not gonna dump us into the vacuum.
He does.
He's not gonna dump us into the vacuum of space, is he?
No, I've given them the scan over. He has many helpful subroutines, and you'll find that he will be an asset should things ever get scrappy.
I mean, he's already damaged the integrity of our hull.
Technically speaking, his hull.
You just rip the wall out of, and it's just like I like him. He's improvising, just like me. That's what we have in common.
Oh, by the way, just so we're clear, Akia is since Thiveron mentioned the writing, you would remember that you can actually read one of the words.
Okay, well, as he's doing the pressing, I look down and just notice that one of them stands out.
Yeah.
Like one section of it.
It's the word devotion, but as it, of course, the machine symbol before it.
I kneel down and press my finger to it where he's doing the pressing and just tell him, this means devotion. This much I know.
That does help. Thank you.
I imagine slowly if I were to pour over the words, I might get one or two more words and pieces put together.
Thiveron, he doesn't like look at you. He tries to body language thanks, but he's so interested in what this language has to say that it might come off as disingenuous. But he does say thank.
Well, I'm rolling this guy as, even though I don't know if I have a penalty to sense motive, I'm rolling him like I do because this body language is a language that he does not know.
The Starfinder is your character. You're allowed to have flaws, and it makes them far more interesting for it.
Yeah, the only body language he knows is like very outward shit, like a thumbs up. He doesn't know what a thumbs up means, but he knows you're doing something with your hand.
Right.
Exactly. Terminator style. That's how it's gonna end up.
Well, like the body, I imagine like the body language Ataika would understand is like that guy's reaching for his gun, that guy's like that's a posture. It'd be like things like that.
The body language he understands is condensed solely to pointing guns at people and shooting them. But that's not really body language. That's just you have pointed a gun at someone and shot them.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. As a mercenary, I can totally speak that language.
Well, okay. You know what? As soon as we get into combat, Ataika and Aiden will be able to communicate very effectively.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking.
The language of bullets.
Yes, the language of bullets. It's very universal. It goes boom.
This one says 50 cal.
If you're doing that, you are getting closer to your destination. So if you wish to pull in at any point, you may.
Right.
I'll engage like the scanners as we're pulling in, just to try to triangulate where our destination is, because I follow the coordinates and everything, and just to like, if you're moving into an asteroid belt, it's probably good practice to have your scanners on.
Ah,
You
the
can walk
diaspora
computers.
feels like home. I recognize that one over there. Got to see that meteor like twice a year.
You recognize the meteor?
Floats by.
I spent a lot of time alone out here.
Too much time if you can recognize the meteor.
Well, look, it's got such a distinguished. It looks kind of like a starfish. See, and that one over there. Oh, I've never seen that one before, but it looks like a lentil.
What's a starfish or a lentil?
Okay, that's enough out of that. And Aiden pops into the pilot seat. Gamma, take us out of autopilot. I'm taking the stick.
Understood, sir. Though given the state of
Yeah. Less talking, more giving me control.
Understood, sir. And with that, he cuts out his own control and allows you to take over.
I'm gonna pop on the intercom. Attention, crew! We're nearing our destination, so grab onto something and hold on tight. And I do what's called a nosedive.
I swear I'm going to take the controls from you.
Prava grabs the edge of his captain's seat and also grabs Kuzon.
Yeah.
And Thiveron, what about you?
Thiveron, knowing Aiden probably isn't joking, he grabs on to something.
Just
And
latch.
Ataika just continues walking through the ship.
He cares not.
You guys are all holding on to shit, and you just hear Ataika walking through the main bay of the ship. He's
But can you roll me piloting to get to your destination?
Gotcha. I'm assuming
We
there's
get a
gonna be an
bonus if-
asteroid belt, so let's hope this is a good one.
I'll assume, because I'm running the scanners and like feeding him the information. I'll assume that like I'm using the computers to at least assist him or like tell him where to go.
You may roll computers to try and give him assist, yes.
Oh boy, my first computers roll.
These computers. Oh, nice. So, a total of 19 you got.
+1
think
from our
you're-
awesome computer, if I remember correctly.
No, you didn't want it. You didn't want him to take part.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So
Never
he's
mind.
not giving you.
Okay, so that's
he's not giving
19.
you any bonus.
Yeah, Kuzon is feeding you the information you need.
Yeah, you didn't ask for a computer boy, and he's not helping you. Right.
Ooh.
Yes, different pictures.
Ooh, different
Nice.
music, different pictures.
You start getting ever closer to the mining facility. Kuzon, you would actually remember this facility. It's one of your sister facilities.
You have a sister?
Not his sister, more of the company
She's a
you work
full-size
for.
facility,
Holy shit, she's so fat she'd
not
be an
just a
asteroid.
brick house. A
Kuzon
full-size
replaced his
facility.
arm. His sister replaced her whole body with a building.
But, but yes, for the mining corporation that you work for before Kuzon, this is a sister facility to that one.
Ooh.
It seems quiet, however.
Do I like just like looking around and like running my scanners and everything? Do I notice any differences since the last time I might have been here?
You have been here before, apart from a new entryway. It's very shiny, especially compared to last time where it was almost falling apart. But you
Kuzon
also
just,
don't
like-
notice anything else. Like, there's no ships going in and out like there should be.
The Kuzon just does like a low whistle, just like I'm not very good at whistling. He does like a low whistle, and it's like, hey, fixed this place up since the last time I was here.
You've been to this place before?
I didn't recognize it from the chords, but this is he kind of works like back when I was a miner, I'd work here sometimes. I'd get commissioned to repair things and such, and I'd find myself walking through these halls, but they replaced everything. New metal, beautiful chrome.
I take it this is more than just your average mining shaft or something then.
I don't think it used to just be a mining shaft. If you ask me, I think it's something a bit more.
Well, surely if this is where we're meeting with the Benefactor, they'd go all out to really make it something else.
Well, in that case, can't wait to see what's it like on the inside. I'm gonna take us in.
One moment.
As we dock, noticing that they haven't crashed, Thiveron just stops white knuckling the rail.
You're super tense there. It's like, okay, right, no crash outs.
Yeah, Ataika is in one of the turret spots.
I'm gonna turn on the ship's intercom again. This is your pilot, Aiden Pendragon speaking. Our first maiden voyage has ended successfully without any incident. You're welcome. Current local time, no fucking idea. Temperature, probably bearable. Enjoy your stay and remember to tip your pilot. Thank you.
Ataika looks around to where the power button is for the intercom.
Just like Kuzon just kind of just like a sarcastic look, just like, yeah, that voice will serve you very well when we decide to rent our ship out for holiday cruises.
I know, right? If my merc career doesn't work out or my business crumbles, I can always run fares. Who knew I was such a good pilot?
Oh, that would be interesting. If we take passengers, we can meet all sorts of interesting people.
Apparently nobody took his sarcasm seriously.
Prova's now excited for new business opportunity, meeting new people.
I like Prava, he's a bro, he gets me.
As you slowly start to enter the facility, the eeriness from the outside continues inward, while the entrance seemed to be sparkling and new, easily able to, well, accommodate bigger ships. The inside is still as dusty as you remember, Kuzon. Still caked in rock dust and the like, but unlike before where it was bustling for the miners, there more or less seems to be soldiers now walking around the area.
This is awfully armed for a mining asteroid, isn't it?
Boy, I'll say.
It's not a mining facility anymore. Kuzon just kind of says as he's like trailing his vision on a line of walking soldiers.
As one of the soldiers stands next to one of the docking ports, you can see him waving the ship in, giving general directions, making sure that everybody stays away from the rather sizable ship as it comes into land. The docking clamps slamming against the ship and rocking it slightly as it holds it into place, allowing the ship to drop the ramp.
Ataika is like getting his equipment ready, shield placed on back, and his hand axe is in its holster.
Prava goes and stands at the top of the ramp, ready to greet the first person he sees.
That would
Aiden,
be a soldier.
Aiden is quickly. Aiden is quickly just gonna pop to his quarters so he can pocket his knife. He's gonna leave the sniper rifle in his chamber. He's just gonna go with pistol and knife.
Yeah,
Captain
I'll leave
Prava.
my crossbow back as well. There's not really reason to take it.
Thiveron's not necessarily as trusting. He dons his armor and he takes his spear with him, but he uses it like a walking.
Fair enough. The soldiers dressed in rather black and white armor, bearing no symbols or allegiances on this armor. As Prava comes up and he goes, "Captain, understood." With Benefactors waiting for control room, he basically gestures up towards the glass covered platform above.
Okay. Prava like awkwardly like salutes him, and then crew, I guess it's time to head out and meet with the boss.
Well,
Thiveron nods and goes to follow you.
let's get this over with. I'm curious to see who we're working for. Aiden says as he steps out of the ship. By the way, he's wearing his professional clothes, since I bought several sets of clothes for him.
I'm as we're like moving out, I'll walk like just in front of Ataika, and just like just like as we're looking around, just like be cool. Everybody here's cool.
Correct. I sense no touch of heresy.
Yeah.
Wait,
Heresy.
I don't believe I caught that robot's name. What's it called anyway?
Just look at him. It's like, want to introduce yourself?
Ataika keeps walking and says, "Not really."
I'll just and Kuzon just like gives him a look and shrugs and it's like doesn't want to introduce himself right now.
Well, the box did say fragile. Maybe that's his name.
Fragile.
Are you sure you have control over that thing?
He controls himself, and that's how I want it. I need a capable crewmate. I don't need somebody that I have to wrest the controls from and baby.
At any rate,
Just like
Aiden,
Did you say baby?
Aiden ignores that comment and says, at any rate, did that machine mention something about heresy? Since when are machines religious?
Quite a few, actually.
Yeah, it's a thing.
You've probably never been to Machine Planet, but quite a few machines.
I don't get
are
around
religious.
that much, alright? This is my first voyage. This is my first time I've been flying a spaceship. There's a lot of firsts for me today, so lay off.
Do you want to roll sense motive there?
Let me roll. How do I roll with disadvantage?
You can not roll with disadvantage, but I'll increase the DC if you roll.
Okay.
I'd say that's
Clearly
probably
he's-
not good enough.
Yeah, clearly he's telling the truth.
I mean, can Thiveron roll one as well?
Sure.
Yeah, sure, you
Uh,
can roll.
He's not necessarily likely to out people, but he is naturally.
Oh boy.
Oh shit!
He is telling
Yeah, he's good.
lies. You smell the lies on him.
What? I thought he was truthful.
Wow, that's some sense motive.
Jesus fuck, 27.
I rolled a 17 naturally.
Yeesh.
So you get the impression that that was without a doubt his first time, well, probably not his first time, but very close to his first time piloting a ship. As for being places, yeah, he's lying, he's been places.
Okay, well, like I said, Thiveron's not the kind of person to out. He's just making personal notes
Yeah.
of who he can trust and who he can't.
That's an amazing roll, though. As you're getting closer, you see that the door is guarded by two more of the soldiers, though these are much burlier and currently carrying two large axes. They are willing to let you through, of course, if you wish to enter.
Prava gives them a friendly nod and goes to move on by them.
They watch you enter into the room. Let me just...
And
can
these
see
guys
two
sure take their
figures.
job seriously, they must be paid well.
I hope that means we will be paid well.
That's what I was thinking. Usually I don't work
Wow.
for people I don't know. So he better have a good cash flow going, otherwise I'm splitting before you guys realize what's up.
Don't know. Everybody knows the Benefactor. He's a famous figure. We can trust him.
If you say so.
That ship was expensive.
True, he put a lot of faith in us, so we owe him a little bit of faith back.
Now let's not get carried away. We still haven't been picked to work for him anyway, whatever his criteria is. From what I hear, he picks up random people. So maybe we're just a dud. Maybe he's just picking us as a scapegoat. You never know.
I mean, we're an investment. I drew a lot of his resources to fix that ship, so I don't think that he would. I think he would have just given us a dummy ship if he wanted. If he just wanted a bunch of followmen. But that's me.
That's fair. At any rate, it doesn't hurt to, meet him before we come to any conclusions. Besides, I put on my best clothes. This better be worth it. I hate this monkey suit.
When you enter into the room, there is a figure standing before, well, not before you, but on the other side of the room, facing you, in front of this glass. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. I take it that you are the Benefactor?
He gives a short nod. I am the Benefactor, and this is my assistant, Elabor.
Prava gives like a short bow, and he's like, I thank you again for your investment in us. The ship is more than I ever dreamed of. It's truly a home to me now.
I am glad. I've been watching your ship. A unique type, not many build it as such.
I think it has personality. And then Prava nods to Elabor, and he's like, and hello to you, ma'am.
Elabor gives a small nod. Though you do see that, like in her picture, she's actually holding a pair of scales. They are dressed pretty much as her picture depicts, but she is holding scales. They're not just for picture decoration.
How do I spell her name? Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
E-L-A-B-O-R-E.
Thank you.
Can I take a culture check to see if that's like a religious thing going on with those skills?
You made it.
I'm gonna do a heresy check. No.
Oh, that one wasn't as good as my last one. 15.
15. You know that it is definitely a religious item, though of which god you don't exactly know.
Okay.
You probably are shocked due to the fact that she's an elf. Elves normally lived in the alien ages. They're not big on space flight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so would Prava know
Oh,
that?
so
Is
she's
that
full
something-
blood. Okay.
Yes, she's a full-blooded elf.
She's a blood?
No, she isn't wearing
It's
any.
really awkward.
sign
The
Crips.
Benefactor's a
Sign
Crip,
Crips.
So.
It's like I throw a C in her face. And say,
Yes.
What? Sorry.
The benefactor looks towards the ship and then looks back. Most pile on weaponry first. I'm glad to see that you are taking a different route.
Ataika's not.
It was like, well, I'd rather talk than fight in almost any situation. I think that people can always come to an understanding if they exchange their thoughts enough.
Ataika's, since the start of the conversation, has just assumed his military plank stance.
Standing straight up, still like a robot.
Yep.
Either way, I'm looking forward to seeing how you accomplish the tasks I put before you. However, I suppose we should get to the base of why you're here. My offer is thus. Agree to be privately contracted crew under my employ, and you not only get to keep the ship and everything it contains, but you will be rewarded for doing the assigned tasks as well. However, I will warn you. Sorry, I'm reading from the script. I will warn you. Some tasks may be outside of some planetary laws, though the Pact World agenda will not be broken at all.
While he's talking,
What kind of-
While he's talking, Aiden takes out a cigar and lights it up and starts smoking while listening to him.
You should probably ask if you can smoke in here. Some people.
I look towards him, then I look towards the benefactor and I offer him a cigar. Want one?
He actually gives a small nod but gestures down to the table before him.
Ah,
They basically place it there. I'll have it later.
I place it for him and I put my... no, he probably has a lighter. I don't need to give him my lighter. I just place a cigar for him.
Kuzon kind of like he kind of I imagine like he has to stand up on his toes to make his head seen over the table, and he's just like, it's like, remember what the ship's been designed for. What kind of risky work are we talking?
There are going to be many jobs. I've already signed jobs that you are capable of doing. For instance, I noticed in the invoice that you did not install drift drive, and so there will be only in-system jobs for the time being.
To be fair, we
Thank you
did
for your
consider it,
consideration.
but turns out we didn't have exactly, well, enough space, enough materials. It was, as you can see, kind of a patch job.
Oh, to be fair, you did spend quite a bit on shields.
Hey, you said it yourself, most people go for weapons. Those weapons aren't gonna do them much good versus the kind of shields and thrusters we got. We're gonna be running circles around them. We're gonna beat them to whenever we need to go. Sometimes speed is the key to victory, not big guns.
He gives a nod before Annabelle actually speaks up. She goes, the types of jobs were dependent, as the benefactor has said. But of course... Why is that sound?
I'm sorry.
Is that you, Alex? Opening Tupperware. In the middle of a meeting, how could you?
Maybe he was, he's, no,
Prava and
what
he's just
happened?
stupid.
What happened was Prava's exoskeleton was chafing him a bit, so he was rearranging it.
Yeah, no, those are my mandibles clicking. All right.
Okay. That makes sense. Yes, as for the jobs, there will be some risk. No main laws will be broken, maybe a few local ones.
We won't be expected to hurt anyone, will we?
How you carry out the jobs are up to you. So it is completely up to your prerogative.
Bravo looks a little uncomfortable at that, but he nods.
No, that we are not here to be assassins. If that is what you are worried about.
I don't mind fighting in self-defense, but I'd rather not be the aggressor in any cases.
The Benefactor nods to this as if respecting that sort of action. Do not worry. I am not as petty to send you out to kill someone. Of course, we're not saying that there won't be fighting, but still.
I mean, Kuzon just kind of like gestures to Prava, and it's like he's optimistic, and that's important. But I try to prepare for the realistic scenarios and not the ideal one.
Don't worry. If shit hits the fan, well, Aiden shrugs. Guess that's why I'm here.
How it will work is that I will offer you one, maybe a few more jobs. Some jobs will be open to all crews that wish to take part. You may have to race against them in order to accomplish it. As long as it gets done, it matters not. However, other than that, you are free to act independently. If you discover anything in your travels, such as anomaly deleter, relics, rare items, or anything of the sort, you may speak to Elabor and see if it's of interest to me. You will be rewarded thus.
So I take it that Elabor will be our primary contact for getting in touch with you?
That is correct.
Then I suppose more firm introductions are in order. Prava holds out a hand to Elabor. It's a pleasure to meet you, lady. I am Prava, captain of the ship, apparently.
As you say that, you see the scales tip to one side, and she actually holds out a hand, but much more ladylike. Like, in other words, she's holding it straight out. Like, instead of her side to shake your hand, she expects
Palm
you to take
down.
your hand. Yes.
Yeah,
That's correct.
I know that one.
Okay. Would Prava understand what to do with that? Would he like?
Given that you, Siren, are rather versed in certain interactions and such interaction is common among the elven and human populations, I would say yes, you probably would.
You slobber on her knuckles.
She does not seem at all averse by the giant bug man doing that. He's like, greetings. As you know, my name is Elabor, and I will be your liaison during your missions.
Yes, it's very reassuring to have someone so ordered and dignified to be our main liaison. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
we can do great work together.
You can see the scales tip back to being balanced as she brings her hand back up. If there's any questions, I will give you my contact information.
Very well.
Is there any questions before you begin?
Can Thiveron take a sense motive to see if there's some ulterior motive behind these jobs?
You may see.
I'd say we probably
I mean,
don't
like, I
have
know
enough
I can't
information
discover
yet.
what it is, but like I said, Thiveron just kind of constantly gauges people that he interacts.
So what exactly are you saying? Are you trying to check if they have, like, what they're saying is sort of true?
Well, it's kind of, not that it's true, just if like he might be hiding something from us, like not telling us the whole story.
I think we probably want to wait
Because
until,
he
like,
thinks
they
it's
tell you what
not
the
real.
job
He
is,
thinks it's
though.
kind of fishy that some of the jobs will be races where we compete with other crews. Like that. That's not like the companies or organizations that Thiveron's worked for before.
I see. I'm getting what you mean. In other words, it seems strange.
Yeah.
I would say that you can't roll a sense motive, but you can make your own deductions based on the information you've been given, because they're only giving you information right now instead of, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, if you don't say anything, Aiden is gonna pipe up. So how come you have your crews racing against each other for the prize? Wouldn't it make more sense to make them work together?
She lets the Benefactor speak on this point. the way that it works has been an experiment of sorts, and it has been working out splendidly. Competition makes everybody so much more, how to put this, spirited, I guess.
And are these spirited people motivated with extra pay?
Of course. Of course, taking part in the mission itself, if I am properly informed that you assisted the crew that generally completed the task, you will also still be rewarded. I am not that heartless.
I have one question. If I'm ever in a situation where it's hard for me to talk, do you consent to telepathic communication?
He thinks for a moment and goes, "Yes, you may telepathically communicate with me."
I
do
thank
want
you
to
for your allowances.
Every time that voice I hear. The benefactor is instantly charmed.
Sorry, he doesn't laugh like I just laughed. I'm trying to be serious, and suddenly just that voice comes out of nowhere. You have very refined telepathy.
Yes, I'm more used to using it than using my own voice. In fact, you know, when you live a rough life, it becomes useful to be able to communicate on the sly.
Understood. Of course, at this part of the conversation, he doesn't seem to be speaking. He seems to be speaking out loud as opposed to in his head when he's talking to you, despite he probably knows that he can.
Right, well then. So, what job do you have in mind for our first work?
Of course, if you see yourself accepting, your first job is on the planet of Akaton. There's a transport train moving across the planet's surface. It has something that I desire.
So our first job is a heist?
I suppose you could put it that way. However, do not worry. There is no law on Akaton that prevents you from doing this. The train used to be an old transport in order to move resources from the planet to the cities in order to take it off planet. However, since the company's left, it has been decommissioned. Until now.
Who's guarding
Prava
the
kind of
cargo?
glances to Kuzon.
I'm here from a gratitude attitude to Kuzon. So if Kuzon accepts, I see no reason not to come.
As Ataika feels it, I'm sitting on his shoulder, and you all kind of see like Kuzon kind of like shuffling uncomfortably, and but he's like, "So you need us to go to Akiton?"
Correct. However, there is no need to enter any of the, well, larger cities. The train is heading across the surface, the vast, arid lands.
At that point, Aiden's gonna pipe up. I know the region and most of the mercenary units down there. Nobody has the resources and the time to set up something like that. It's definitely not the local mercenaries.
So we'll be against a well-fitted mercenary group for our first job?
That is not exactly correct. I do not know the group because they are nobody.
About this item you want us to secure, how big is the cargo?
1 second, I have to look up my notes just so I'm clear. Right, let me start from this point. The people who invented the items are a bunch of nobodies. They infiltrated one of the Venta labs in order to make the item, or maybe perhaps they simply finished it. Could have explored, but in order to transport the item, they found one of the trains and hired a few mercenaries in order to guard it. There probably won't be anything more than a single group on the train. However, the train itself, given their technical knowledge, they were able to retrofit it. And it contains weaponry on top. This is what you're going to have to be careful of.
So, if they're using an entire train, I'm taking the cargo is very heavy.
No. However, it is extremely protected. And otherwise, I do not know why they are using the train to transport this item.
Where do they plan to take it to?
They tend to take it to Arl, which is the capital city, like a ton, in case any of you didn't know. And as for the size of the item within, reports and my own personal network has reported it as being no bigger. How big was it again? He turns to Elevor, who gets out a notepad, essentially, and flicks it open. No bigger than 3 foot. So it's not going to be that heavy.
How will we identify it when we see it? Is it very clear and easy to identify, or?
It's been transported in a white crate. The item within is unique.
Once we
As I said,
secure the item, where do we need to deliver it?
You can see that he's getting a little annoyed at being interrupted while giving information, but otherwise he carries on saying before, identifying it will be easy. The chambers are clear on the item and it will be both hot and cold. Sadly, pictures were... And then he moves on to his... Once you obtain the item, there will be a delivery pod you will deliver it to, and it will be sent to me.
What is the securings like? Is this a delicate item that we're retrieving?
I've been told that the reason they use the white crate is because it must remain cold.
Because the hot deserts of that planet, they need something solid. They need some solid alloys in order to contain the cool in there without burning through an energy packs at an alarming rate. I'm just like thinking out loud. And do you got any information on me on what kind of train they're operating? Maybe I could try to get a blueprint or some information to make sure I have the correct tools in case we have to do some improvised work.
The terrain is general arid terrain, rock faces, dry land, but otherwise smooth.
Okay.
Along the tracks, you will probably decide where you take on the train and how, but I do not suggest you attempt to once it reaches Arl. Once it is there, the law will be on their side.
Yes. Well, it sounds like the best strategy is to get ahead of the train and do something to the tracks to stop the train from going forward. If we can get the train to stay still, we'll have all kinds of time to work with it.
I've got some trustworthy people on that planet. I could ask them to procure us some explosives. Nobody's gonna be able to track them. They're gonna be pretty discreet about it. We just need a good position to set up an ambush. We'll wait for the train, get the explosives to go off, and then we jump the train.
Well,
Just gotta be careful about the guns, though.
So be it. Is there any other questions before you leave?
Does working for you have health benefits? I've had this weird thing in my lower left mandible I've been wanting to get checked out, but without insurance, it's pretty hard.
You'd be able to afford your own insurance.
I could take a look at your mandible.
I think we're done here. I'm gonna snuff
Thiveron
out my
looks
cigar
annoyed
in
at that
his
remark.
ashtray. Well, pleasure meeting
Sorry.
ya.
Vivian, what was that?
Oh, Thiveron just looks annoyed at that comment about the insurance.
Okay.
And as I say, pleasure meeting, and start turning around. I wink and smile at Elabora, and I head for the door.
Yeah, I head out to the ship. It's time to get out of this.
Okay then. So you all start heading back towards the ship.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yes.
So, if I'm familiar with the kind of, like, because I imagine part of my background, like, I probably salvaged some junker train cars and stuff like that. Do I have any useful information on how, like, the coupling system works, like where the carts are, like, attached to each other?
As mentioned, they are rather old and not seen much use, but they are coupled together through like big ass couplers.
Yeah, but like I guess what I mean is like I just want to get an idea of like how tough these are and trying to factor in things like it's probably rusted. Like I imagine they probably are only did up the train enough to get it working, stuff like that. Because I have an idea for something that might work.
Well, you wouldn't know. They could have refurbished them. They could have done anything to it.
So I had an idea of something that might work. What we would do is I would get 2 different grenades. I would get a tangle grenade and a Mark II frag grenade and a detonator. And my goal would be like I'd set it up to time it. But if there was some way that we could try to identify which cart our cargo is in, we could, or at least like identify which carts it isn't in. Then I had an idea where like I could set up a detonator, set up a tangle grenade right underneath where the wheels would go, right? And then basically using the tangle grenades to tie up the wheels of the machine we're trying to, like the cart that we're trying to grab, and using the frag grenade placed in such a way to try to attack the coupler, just like using the force to detach it from the rest of the train while they're in full motion. And if we're capable of doing that, then we'll get a significant distance from our cart to the front of the train if we can time it correctly. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, but that's too risky because we have no idea which cart the fucking cargo's gonna be in.
Yeah, I think the best goal is just to stop the train, and just like breaking the tracks would be enough for that, right? It's a train, it's fixed to a track. If we just damage the tracks and the train crashes, then we have plenty of time to sort through the wreckage.
Well, maybe it's time to do some information gathering just to see how it transports, how it works.
I do have some details that I'd like to share with you fellas, but I believe it's better if we do that on the ship. For now, let's do our shopping and preparations. For now, let's work with the assumption that we're gonna use explosives to stop the train. And from then on, we're just gonna need something to pry it open like a tin can. I'm thinking, Kuzon, you've probably got an idea of how to pop that baby open, right?
I'll assume we're like back on the ship as we're planning.